Hey guys, it is Jenna and I am reporting live from my bedroom, a little bit sick and still wearing makeup from like 24 hours ago, so I'm kind of a mess right now. But I'm here with an exciting topic today, and that is senior week. So I'm going to tell you guys about my whole senior week experience, which was insane, and I was actually going to do a big video with a ton of clips and just a voiceover, but I suck and I barely took any videos the whole week that I was there, so I apologize for that. But I'm just going to be talking to you guys about my senior week experience, and I always try to procrastinate these kind of videos because I never feel like I look decent enough to be sitting in front of the camera and talking for such a long period of time. But I came to the conclusion that you guys probably are not concerned with my appearance, so here I am, and I'm just gonna get right into the video because it's probably going to be really long. So day one, June 7th, it was a Sunday. I got up really early. Michaela got me a little bit before 6 in the morning, and in the car it was Michaela, Monica, Shelby, and me, and the car was so packed I couldn't even move the whole time. But around 6 in the morning or so, we went to Bella's house and met up with everyone that was driving with us. So we had 3 cars. It was in the first car, Bella, Amy, and Trizzy, and then in the second car it was Emily and Aaliyah, and then the third car was us 4. So we had 3 cars. We were on the road for about 6 or 7 hours, and then we finally made it to Ocean City, and we stayed at a motel called the Seascape. We were only allowed 4 people in a room, so in our room, 116, that was our room. We had Michaela, me, Monica, Shelby, and then we secretly snuck in Emily, and she stayed on a blow-up mattress, so we had 5 people in our room. And then Aaliyah, Bella, Amy, and Trizzy were in the other room. They were room 125, and the motel, I wasn't expecting anything nice because it was a cheap motel, like we were barely gonna be in it. But it was something else. We didn't even have a microwave. We brought all this food. Emily thought there was gonna be a stove. We didn't even have a microwave, but we had this tiny little room. We couldn't even figure out how to work the air conditioner. There were 2 beds, just a little TV, mini fridge, and the way the motel was laid out, it wasn't like a normal hotel. When you go in the building, you go to your floor, and then you go through a hall, and there are all the rooms in a hall. The whole thing was just kind of outside. I don't know how to describe it. There was no halls. It was just doors on the outside of a building. So I don't know if you get the visual, but it was an interesting little place. We didn't even have a balcony. We had a little bench on the outside of our door. But I mean, it was something for us to stay in, and that's all that mattered. So it was our first day. It's senior week. Obviously we had alcohol. Everyone kind of overestimated their limits and got really drunk on the first day. Everyone just drank a lot, and we went to the beach and everyone was hammered, and whenever we went back to the room, Michaela just passed out on the bed and could not go out for the rest of the night, and then Monica stayed and slept with Michaela, and our room was already completely trashed. There were chips everywhere, our stuff was all over the place. We completely trashed the room. We hadn't even been there for 3 hours yet. It was so bad. So whenever we were on the beach, we made a couple of friends, and Trizzy eventually ended up inviting them back to the room, and they did illegal things on the outside of the hotel. So the front desk saw, and even though they weren't in our room, since we came in with them and we were kind of connected, we got blamed. All of us got blamed for the whole thing. So the management was kind of out to get us from the first day. So we were scared that we were gonna get evicted on our first day. So we went to the car, we hid all of the alcohol that we had in the room in the car in case they decided to search our room. But they never ended up searching our room that day. We were good, but it was scary since we didn't have a microwave in our room. Whenever you wanted to microwave food, you had to go to the front desk, the main office, and they had a microwave there. And Michaela went to go microwave ramen noodles or something, and the front desk asked her what room she's in, and she told them 115 instead of 116 because we kind of knew that they were on the lookout for us. So they told Michaela to be careful and not associate with their hallmates in room 116. And we're like, oh my god, like that's us. Like they were talking about us to us, but they didn't know. It was a mess, so we were really nervous that we were gonna get evicted. So that's why we hid everything and we just wanted to be safe. So that was pretty much our first day. It was kind of rough. It was really fun, but like we kind of came into it not knowing what to do and what to expect and how to act, and it was interesting, but we did not get evicted on day 1, so that was good. Day 2 comes along. This is June 8th. It was Monday, and we woke up to Trizzy getting kicked out of the seascape because everyone in his room didn't want him in there anymore because they were nervous about what happened yesterday, that he brought these people in and they were gonna get us kicked out. So he got kicked out. We woke up to the management just screaming at him and he was gone. One of the ladies who worked there, we called her Big Red because she was big and she had really red hair. She was the one who was screaming at him to get out, and then we were just all standing out there on our little balcony outside of door thing. We were standing and watching the whole thing happen, and she came and talked to us and she told us that we were allowed to drink and smoke in her room, like in our rooms, as long as we didn't let the customers see it. So we went to the car and brought all the alcohol back into the room. We felt very safe at this point because she just gave us permission to do all of this, and we were happy. So we went to the beach and enjoyed our day. This was an interesting night because everyone wanted to go to H2O, which is like an under 21 nightclub type of thing, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't like dancing. I'm gonna hate the music they play. I don't want to dance with people or associate with anyone. So I decided to embark on an alone journey to the boardwalk to look for plugs and like septum clickers and stuff. I just wanted to have like an alone nice night to myself, so that is what I tried to do. So everyone went to go to H2O and I was in the room alone just getting ready. I left the room and went to go to the part of the motel that faced the boardwalk, and I was just sitting on a bench smoking a cigarette, and there were a group of guys at a bench like a couple benches down from me, and I wasn't paying attention to them. I had no interest in talking to them, but I was just sitting on the bench, and then whenever I got up to go to the boardwalk, they stopped me and asked me if I wanted to drink with them or if I wanted to hang out with them, and I was like, I'm like kind of on a mission to look for stuff on the boardwalk. So they were just persistent. They did not stop trying to get me to hang out with them, and they eventually told me that they would come with me instead of me having to come with them. And I didn't really want company, but I felt bad. I'm too nice to say no. So I told them that they could come with me. So I was walking with them. They were really nice, but I just didn't really want to talk to people. I wasn't in the mood. But I was walking with them, and they were all 19. Even though they looked a lot older, I have a feeling maybe they weren't 19. I don't know. They were hammered, but I'm not sure what was happening. So we were walking along the boardwalk, and I found my plugs that I wanted. Eventually, I was looking at these purses that were outside of one of the shops, and I did not know this until after, but one of the guys stole me a bag, and he gave me the bag, and he told me he used to like rob houses and stuff, and I was like, this is not cool, but I just kept cool and I stayed walking with them. And eventually, this is what gets very interesting. They were talking about stealing stuff, and one of them decided that they wanted to steal a drug rug from one of the boardwalk shops, and I knew that it was a bad idea, and I stood very far back so I would not be a part of it. So they were looking at the drug rugs. Every shop that has clothes, they display the clothes outside of the shop, and sometimes like the managers of the shop will like come out to make sure people aren't stealing anything. So the manager of this place comes out and just kind of like checks out what's going on while they're looking at the drug rugs, and they wait for the guy to go back in, and then one of them takes 2 drug rugs, and I could see that the manager was coming back out and he knew what was happening. And I said to the guy who I was with, who was taking the drug rugs, I was like, don't do it, like the guy's coming back out. He didn't listen, and he ran off with the drug rugs, and then I saw the manager run after him, and I was like, oh my god, this is bad. So eventually the manager comes out, runs after him, puts him in a chokehold, and tries to drag him back to the shop while like pulling the drug rugs out of his hand. And he tries to run, and I'm like, what are you doing? Everyone was just watching what was happening. So he just keeps trying to run off, and he wasn't running fast either. Like whenever you're stealing something and you want to get away, you should probably run fast. I'm not suggesting this, but if that's what you're trying to do, then you should probably run faster. He was skipping down the boardwalk while this guy was trying to arrest him, and he called the cops, and then he still tried to run. The cops got him in a chokehold, drug him back to the store, did not let him out of the chokehold for a long time, and I was just watching this happen, and his friends were coming up to me like, because there were 3 of them, his friends came up to me and like, what should we do? Like, we don't want to leave him. I'm like, no, don't leave him, go help him. So I was just watching this whole thing happen, and then I said to myself, this is a perfect time for me to leave, because I didn't really want to be with them anyway. So this kind of worked out in my favor. Like, it was unlucky for them, but it was lucky for me that this happened. So I just ran right off whenever all of them were gone, and I looked and he was still in a chokehold. Like, they brought him back to the shop in a chokehold, and I had their numbers, so I did text one of them and ask them like what ended up happening, and they didn't get arrested. The one just got a ticket. So that's what happened in that story. So that was my interesting experience that night. It was a weird turn of events. I enjoyed it. So after that happened, I was walking alone on the boardwalk for maybe like 2 hours, and I found my plugs, I found a septum clicker, I got a shirt. I was having a successful alone night on the boardwalk, and then everyone finally came back from H2O. We all reunited with each other, and basically the whole rest of the night we tried to find parties to go to, and we didn't find any, and we ended up sitting on the stairs of some hotel for like an hour just waiting for people to come by and tell us if there were any parties going on, but there weren't. So we went back to the room and went to sleep, and that was day 2. Day 3, which was June 9th, it was a Tuesday. This was one of my favorite days. There were a few people on this day from home who were coming to the beach, and we were gonna meet up with them. And this was exciting because I was planning on meeting Ty this day, and he was finally coming, and I was happy. So that is what happened. Bella and I went to their hotel, which was on 11th Street, and we met Ty and everyone who was staying at the hotel. We didn't really do too much during the day. We just went to the beach to waste some time before we were going to the boardwalk. It finally came time for all of us to go to the boardwalk, so there was a huge group of us going to the little fair part of the boardwalk. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Ocean City, but there is that huge slingshot ride where it's a literal slingshot. Like, you go in a ball and they pull you down on these slings, and then they just shoot you up, and it's crazy. It's so much fun. I rode with Shelby, and we were all in line together. So I forget, I think Bella and Aaliyah went before us, and I saw that you have to put your legs up on the ball. I don't know how to describe it, but you have to keep your legs up so like you don't flail all over the place, I guess. And then it came to me that I was not wearing pants this day because I live in long t-shirts, and I usually wear shorts with them. But the shirt was so long that I like didn't have to wear pants, but I was like, oh my god, like I don't have pants on. You have to put your legs up like you're flinging all over the place, and there are people in line below who are watching you. So I went onto this kind of nervous because I didn't have pants on. So Shelby and I were in the ride, and we were sitting there anticipating where they fling you up. We were just sitting in the ride, and eventually they flung us up, and my shirt was all the way up here. I was just complete underwear. It was horrible. We were laughing so hard. It was really funny, but it was bad. And they videotaped the whole thing, so when you get off, like, they have a whole body video of you and my underwear. It was so bad, but it was really funny. I will not forget that. That was a thing to look back on. It's really fun though. I suggest going on that ride if you go to Ocean City. Like, you might be kind of scared. Like, a lot of our friends didn't go on it because they were scared, and I would regret that because it was so much fun. So that was one highlight of the night. And then eventually when everyone was done on the slingshot ride, because it's only 2 people at a time, so the line goes really slow. When all of our friends were done on that, we just went and kind of played games and stuff, and Ty won me a bear, and he actually didn't really win it. It was this game where you go up to the guy and he guesses your birthday, and if he gets it wrong, you get to pick a prize. And it's like, there's no trick or anything. Like, he's literally just a guy guessing what your birth month is, and he got it wrong for all of us. So Ty won a bear and gave it to me, so I was very excited. It's a very cute teddy bear. It was really late. We were just on the boardwalk having a nice time, and then this is where things get kind of foggy. I don't know exactly what went down for sure. We went back to the motel, and I forgot to mention, whenever Big Red told us that we were allowed to have alcohol in the room and stuff, she also told us that we weren't allowed to have visitors past 6 o'clock. just because of what happened with Trizzy. We kind of did not follow. We had our friends DJ and Dylan in the room, but we made them go out so we wouldn't get evicted, and they were riding their bikes on the property, and the managers came out and were furious and just threatened to evict us, so we all left before anything could happen. So at this point we were scared that we were actually going to get evicted because they threatened to evict us. We all went back on the boardwalk and everyone was just kind of yelling, and it was crazy because we were nervous and didn't know what to do. So Ty and I decided to go away from everyone and get ice cream because it was just too much going on. It was too loud. It was crazy. So we got out of the stressed area and went to go get ice cream, and it was maybe 1 in the morning at this point, and eventually I get a call from Michaela because Ty and I are alone and Michaela was with everyone else and she knew what was going on. I had no idea what was happening. We left for like 10 minutes to get ice cream. Michaela calls me and tells me to run back to the room as fast as I can, and I'm like, what could happen? There's so much that could be going wrong. One of the girls who was with us went kind of insane and was doing drugs and mixing alcohol, and I was like, she could be dead or we could be evicted. Like, what happened? Camera won't focus. I ran back to the room and we were just really confused. So I get back to the room, everything's packed up, everything is gone out of the room. I was like, what is happening? We got evicted. So we got evicted from the Seascape Motel on our 3rd night, and it was extremely frustrating and scary, and we thought we were gonna have to go home. Like, people were crying because we thought we were gonna have to leave on our 3rd day, and I was like, I don't care what it takes. I have money. I will stay somewhere else. I'm not leaving on the 3rd day, especially since Ty got there. It was his first day there and I have to leave, and I was like looking forward to seeing him for the rest of the week, so it was really sad. We were honestly about to drive home 6 hours at 1 in the morning. It was terrifying. The cops were there with drug dogs. It happened so fast. I just went to get ice cream and all this happened. But we put all of our stuff in the car. We packed it up really quick. We left all of the food there because we had no time to get the food. We were in the car just calling every motel that had vacancy to see if we could stay somewhere and if we had enough money to stay somewhere just for a couple more nights. So eventually we found the Flamingo Motel, and this was just a happy moment because we finally found somewhere to go. So the Seascape, the place that we just got evicted from, was on 17th Street, and it was a perfect location because it was right on the boardwalk. And the Flamingo that we just found was on 31st Street, so we had to move a few streets up. It was okay, but it was sad because the boardwalk ends, I think, on 28th Street, and we spent so much time on the boardwalk because we could just walk right out of our motel and it would be there. But it was better than having to go home, so we eventually made it down to 31st Street. A little before 2 in the morning, we went to the front desk and we told this guy our whole story about what happened to us and the crazy night that we just had, and he was really nice about it. He gave us a discount and everything because he told us that he had daughters our age, and if it happened to them, he would want them to have somewhere to stay and he wouldn't want them to have to drive 6 hours home at 1 in the morning. So he was really understanding about the whole thing. And he told us like very clear rules that we really were not allowed to have visitors at this place. Everything was good. We finally found this place. We were staying until Friday, and we were originally supposed to stay until Sunday, but we didn't have enough money to stay at a whole new hotel for the time that we were supposed to because we didn't get our money back from the Seascape. They just kicked us out. So we were at the Flamingo, we get our room and everything, and we have to walk up a bunch of steps to get to the room. And we make it into our room, and it is so much more of an improvement than the Seascape. We had a microwave, we had a lot of space, we had a balcony. It was so nice. We were just really relieved to not only have a place to stay, but have a nice place to stay. So we were really happy. We got all moved in a little bit after 2 in the morning, and then we were up for a while because we were just stressed, and not only stressed, but we were kind of laughing about the whole thing. Like, we can't believe we just got evicted from our motel. Like, we were feeling a lot of emotions. So we were up for a while just sitting on the balcony and talking, and we eventually made it to bed, and that was our third night? Yes, that was our 3rd night at Ocean City. Moving on to day 4, it was a Wednesday, June 10th. We woke up in our new hotel room at the Flamingo Motel. It was all the same people that were in room 116 at the Seascape, so it was me, Michaela, Monica, Emily, and Shelby, and then Bella and Aaliyah went to a different hotel, and Amy was gone. She wasn't at the beach anymore. So our numbers were dwindling and we were separated, but it was okay because we are still at Ocean City and that was all that mattered. So I don't really remember what we did this day, but I know we went to the boardwalk again during the night. And since we are now on 31st Street and not on the boardwalk, we had to take the drunk bus. And you stand on the street at the bus stop and the bus will come pick you up, but everyone on the bus is hammered and it is so funny, but they stuff the bus until you can't even breathe. Like, there are so many people on the bus just screaming, and it was fun. We met people on the bus. Like, it was actually a good time. Like, I was happy that we had to take buses now to the boardwalk. This was a really fun night. We were just having fun and running around and being loud and obnoxious, and there are always performers at Ocean City on the boardwalk. So there was this one man who was sitting on a bench playing a guitar, but instead of the microphone being faced toward him, it was faced toward the boardwalk, so people could come up and sing karaoke, and everyone was just hammered and singing karaoke so loud. It was just a very fun night at the boardwalk, and we were all just having a really good time. So eventually we were gonna go back to the room to drink more, and we had to take the drunk bus again, and this time we made a friend on the bus, and we told him we were going to 30th Street, and he said he was too, and then we told him we were staying at the Flamingo, and then he said he was too, and we got so excited because the guy at the front desk told us we weren't allowed visitors, but since this kid was a resident of the hotel, we were allowed to have him in our room, and he told us he had all this alcohol to bring, so we said okay. We got off the bus at our street, and he came with us, and he kind of disappeared for a while. We were assuming to get all the alcohol he was talking about. So we were in the room, and we did sneak Ty in the room because it was only one person. So eventually this kid that we met on the bus knocks on the door. He has all of his friends, and he is really strange. We were kind of uncomfortable by him. He brought his very bizarre friends in. So we were being pretty loud, and eventually we get a knock on the door, and we ask who it is, and we hear front desk. It was the same guy that we told our whole story about our eviction, that told us we weren't allowed to have visitors. He was knocking at the door. We were terrified. We had alcohol in the room. We had Ty in the room who wasn't allowed to be in the room, so we hid Ty on the balcony so the guy couldn't see him. We were trying to like run around and clean up everything that we had in the room, and we let him in, and he told us that we were getting evicted. He told us he knew our whole story. We told him that we would be good and we wouldn't have people in the room, and he said he would have to call the cops, and he asked us if we had alcohol in the room, and we all said no, and he knew we were lying, and we should have just said yes from the beginning, and we were literally begging him not to evict us, like, please don't do this, please don't evict us, or please don't call the cops, like, this is really happening again. So we were just terrified, still begging him, and he told us that he was gonna have to call the cops. So he got on his phone, was calling the cops, was telling them what room we're in, and he mentioned again how we weren't allowed to have visitors. So we tell him like, no, it's okay, all of these people are from the hotel. And you know what they said? They said, no, we're not staying here. So they lied to us to come to our room and try to party with us. So they weren't even staying at the hotel. We looked like we were lying now. It was a horrible situation. Everyone except for us who were staying in the room, and Ty, who was still hiding on the balcony, everyone left the room. The front desk guy asked again if we had any alcohol, and we still said no, and he said, why are you guys lying to me? Like, we just couldn't get it out of us that we did. And he just continued to tell us that we were being evicted and to pack up all of our stuff, so we were running around the room packing everything. And eventually Emily tells him that we do have alcohol, because if he walked in, he was gonna see it. Like, there was no point in lying to him anymore. So he took her out into the hall, and she just tried to explain everything that happened. Those kids lied to us, that they told us that they did stay at the hotel, and she told him about all the alcohol. She brought it out to him, and after she did all of this explaining to him, he gave the alcohol back to her and told us to have a good night. And he didn't really call the cops. He fake called the cops and didn't really evict us. Like, he evicted us and then unevicted us. So it was just, we were, again, feeling so many emotions. Like, we didn't know what to think. Like, we didn't actually just get evicted, but we almost did. So we stopped packing all of our things, and we just sat there and thought, like, oh my god, like, I can't believe that just happened. And the funny thing is, those kids that lied to us and said that they stayed at the hotel but really didn't, They left a whole backpack full of alcohol and they just completely forgot about it, and that was their karma. We had all their alcohol now. So after that whole thing happened, we went back out onto the boardwalk just to kind of get out of the motel and walk around. So we had to take another bus. All of us were out for a while and then eventually we kind of split up, and Ty and I ended up staying out until 4 in the morning. Being out on the boardwalk that late isn't really that scary, but we had to catch a bus and we had to go back on the street. And there are just weird people on the street. We walked past a hotel and there were bottles being thrown off of the hotel onto the sidewalk, like glass bottles, almost hitting people. It was terrifying, so we were really relieved to get on the bus. And then poor Ty, he walked me back to the hotel and then he had to go alone back to 11th Street, which is where he was staying. That was how the night went. It was an interesting day. It was fun and scary and almost got evicted again, and that was pretty much the end of the night. We are on day 5. It was Thursday the 11th. It was our last full day at the Flamingo because we were staying until Friday morning. At this point, a couple people that we were staying with got money wired down to them through like the Western Union from their parents, so we could maybe stay another day. So we mostly spent this whole day looking for new hotels. We finally found a new hotel called the Clarion, and everything about it was perfect except for that it was on 101st Street. So we went from 17th Street to 31st Street to 101st Street. As you go up in streets, the hotels get a lot nicer, and you wouldn't really think this because the hotels are a lot nicer, but they actually care a lot less about what you do because they know that all the teenagers for senior week are trying to stay on the boardwalk, and that's where the most destruction is going to happen. Like, nothing really goes on 101st Street, so they're pretty lenient on what you do there. We walked in to make a reservation for the next night, and everyone was in nice clothes. It was so fancy. Like, we came from the Seascape to the Flamingo to this. Like, every place we stayed at went up a level in quality, and this was amazing. We didn't really get to explore the hotel too much because we were just making our reservations for the next day, but it was so nice from what we could tell. So after we went to get this new hotel, we kind of just went on the boardwalk for a little bit. It wasn't really an eventful night at all. We walked around and tried to find parties for hours and we found nothing. And then a couple people that we were with got into big fights and I didn't know what to do. I just kind of sat on a bench and just witnessed the whole thing because I hate when people fight, and it was just not a good way to spend our day. So we were on the boardwalk pretty late. People were just fighting, and the only good thing, I found a couple people from school, and it was cool because like you'll see people from school that you didn't really talk to at school, but you'll talk to them here because you're kind of like in the same situation. Like, we were all on our own for the first time, and you had something in common with people that you really didn't have in common with them before whenever you went to school with them. So it was cool to see people from school at the beach. It's weird to see them in another state, but it was interesting. But that honestly pretty much sums up the 5th day, and now it is day 6, Friday, June 12th. It was our move out day of the Flamingo. We checked out of the Flamingo and we had to wait a couple more hours until we could check into the Clarion, which was the new place we were staying on 101st Street. So now staying in the room, it is me, Michaela, Emily, Aaliyah, Monica, Shelby, and then Dylan and DJ decided to stay with us too, so we were in a packed room, and we finally get the keys, and we went to explore the hotel a little bit because we didn't get to yesterday. It was so amazing. I cannot even begin to explain how nice this place is, especially compared to the places that we had been staying at. There was like a coffee shop, an indoor pool, an outdoor pool. They had a hot tub, a sauna, a steam room, an exercise room. They had a little coffee shop, which I was obsessed with because they had just coffee and like muffins, and they had things with SpongeBob popsicles, like those little, what are they called? Like you open them and there are just all these like ice cream things inside. They had one of those and they had the SpongeBob ice creams, and I was so happy. We just kind of spent a lot of the day like in the pool and the hot tub and then getting ready for the night, so we were in the hotel a lot this day. At this point, to get to the boardwalk, we had to ride the drunk bus for shore, and it honestly took almost 45 minutes to get to the boardwalk, so it was insane. It was such a long time to get to the boardwalk, and I enjoyed the drunk bus, but not for 45 minutes. But basically this night, everyone kind of did their own thing. I went with Shelby to meet Ty and Dylan and DJ, and we just kind of spent the night at the boardwalk, like spending the rest of our money because we were leaving tomorrow morning. We honestly sat on a bench at the boardwalk for at least a half hour and just said pickup lines to people who were walking by, and it was really funny. I just blew the rest of my money. I got like a tapestry and I don't even know what else, but I spent all my money. And Ty got his ears pierced, and it was just a fun night. We took the bus back to the hotel, which took another 45 minutes, and it was pretty late at this point. Michaela was trying to get to sleep because she had to drive home tomorrow, so we walked in making a ton of noise and she was so mad. We kind of wanted to get out of there, so Ty, Shelby, and I went to try to go in the pool, but it was closed. So we escaped the hotel and made our way to the beach. It was funny because it was maybe like 2 in the morning and we walked out past the front desk to leave the hotel. He didn't even question us. Literally at the seascape, if we even walked out of the hotel, if we thought about walking out of the hotel, we would have gotten evicted, and we did get evicted, but they were trying to evict us for just anything. But like at this nice place that you'd expect them to be strict at, they didn't question anything that we did. They just let us run freely around. So all 3 of us went on the beach and we just walked around and kind of like enjoyed our last night at the beach. And it was bittersweet. It was really happy but really sad. And it was cool to just like walk on the beach that late, and there was really no one on there, except we did meet a group of people who were skinny dipping. They were maybe like in their 20s and they were very naked, and sorry guys, the memory card got full and I just had to readjust the setup. So it was a nice night. We just kind of frolicked around the beach and met skinny dippers and ran through sprinklers, and we went back to the room, Ty, Shelby, and I. And everyone was back in the room at this point from kind of doing their own thing. And at this point, it was almost 4 in the morning and we were just being really loud, and Michaela was getting so mad again. She wanted to kill all of us, but there were so many of us in the room, we all just like couldn't control ourselves from talking, and we were all laying down, but everyone would say something every once in a while and we'd just laugh and talk. And along with everyone who was already staying in the room before, Ty decided to come and stay in the room as well. So it was Monica, Shelby, Michaela, me, Emily, DJ, Dylan, Aaliyah, and Ty, and it was just crazy. Aaliyah, Dylan, Ty, and I had to sleep on the floor, and it was so much fun. I think this might have been one of my favorite nights just because we were all laughing and talking. So we eventually did fall asleep, and now we are on our last day, which is day 7, which doesn't even really count as a day because we had to leave at 11. We all woke up and got all of our stuff together and made our way down to the car to put everything in the car and pack up. I went to get some coffee from the little coffee place that I miss very much, and by 11 we were all ready to go home, and we went to Subway to have one last meal together, and we just all talked and kind of like reminisced about the week. We were all really honestly happy to be getting out of there and going home, but we were also really sad. We all kind of agreed that it was the best, worst week of our life because so many great things happened, but we were also just not prepared for everything that did happen, and we spent so much money that we didn't need to spend, and so much happened that could have gone better. It was just an insane week. It was full of so many things that I will never ever forget, and I said to myself before we left for that whole week that I just wanted Senior Week to be everything that I expected it to be. I wanted it to be full of just insane moments of freedom and us being able to do whatever we wanted, and definitely exceeded that for sure. I was happy to be home, but now that I'm back, I wish I could go back again. But it did turn out to be an amazing week, especially because really the only person that I came into Senior Week knowing well was Michaela, and now I feel like I know everyone so well that we went with, and I feel like I made new friends and a lot of good things came out of the week, and I just can't say enough how much I will never forget it. So definitely one of the most memorable weeks that I have ever had, and I am so happy about it. And I feel like there was so much more to explain about it, but like there's just so much that happened, it's hard to fit it all into a video. I wish I would have captured more moments from Senior Week. I didn't get any videos, I feel, but I still have all of these memories in my mind, which is all that matters. That is pretty much all for this video. I feel like it was so long, but there was just so much to talk about. I hope you guys didn't get bored to death. Lizzie and I are going to the beach again at the end of July, so I will definitely have more time to make actual videos there because Lizzie gets like the whole vlogging thing. Like I was kind of around a lot of people that I didn't really know too well, so I didn't want to just be filming the whole time. But with Lizzie, I feel like I can film a lot, and I'll have a lot of actual beach videos and all of that stuff. So that is pretty much it. I think I am going to go to bed now because it is pretty late. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye!